Welcome to another stock market update. This week, we're going to take a look at the stock market and also my latest analysis of Tesla. The market had another roller coaster ride, and Tesla went along as well. So we're going to start off looking at the index chart here. As you can see, that the index on a closing basis, it doesn't look as bad because it seemed like it's all pretty much kind of try to consolidate. Here on the Dow, it actually went below the low and actually closed at a new low here. But looking at the other indexes, is pretty much holding its ground and closed above the previous low, except this here on the Russell 2000 also closed with a new low. Is the Dow Transportation got a new low. But looking at the Dow Jones Industrial, you can see that it's pretty much sort of try to consolidate here. And same thing with the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, and the NASDAQ Composite. So even though the daily range of the price move from last week, it seemed very volatile, 1,000 point up, 1,000 point down on the Dow Jones Industrial. But looking at the close, on a closing basis, the indexes did not look that bad if you just look at the closing prices. The market actually closed up, believe it closed up about 5%. So it wasn't that bad of a week, but if we look at it on a daily basis, it seems to be pretty wild and it's kind of scary when you see the Dow down over 1,000 point and then followed by another day that is up over 1,000 point. And then on Friday, the Dow was down more than 900 point and it came back and closed only down a couple hundred point. So on an intraday basis, the market is very volatile and it could be kind of scary if you watch it on a minute-to-minute basis. Let's look at the sentiment chart here, and looking at the put-call ratio is sitting up at 1.21. So it's still pretty high here. Remember what we said last week is that if we expect that to see a dead cat bounce, and to validate it is a dead cat bounce, is that these sentiment, especially the put-call ratio, come down and then reverse back up. And likewise for the VIX, you can see the VIX is up here at the 41.94, so it's very elevated. Then we could see that it could be just a dead cat bounce. And right now, we're essentially going to watch to see if the S&P 500 could be able to hold above this closing low here next week and see would it get a bounce. Then we need to see these VIX and also the put-call ratio to come back down. Otherwise, we could be looking at lower level ahead. And here we are looking on the candlestick. You can see at the intraday, it actually went above the 50 level and then come back down on Friday and close around 41.94. So that is a little bit of a positive because it took out the high here. It came back down near the low. So in other words, that there might be some capitulation here, and then maybe in the short term, the selling have subside a bit. So we're going to watch the put-call ratio to see would it be coming back down next week to below 1, and see is this the VIX continue to retreat to a lower level. And here we see that based on the close, you see this level here is much higher than this level down here back in the February 2018 timeframe. And also the put-call ratio is not that high yet. It did not take out this December 2018 high. So there could be, a little bit more of higher level to go if the market decide to continue to take out this low and come back down to somewhere around these level here, 2,900 area there. So we'll keep an eye on these sentiment chart here. And here looking at the S&P 500, you can see that S&P 500 closed with a higher low last week, but the advanced decline, the cumulative advanced decline actually made a lower low. So that is something to keep an eye on. Then here on the new high, new low, you can see that new high, new low reversed back down, and it came down to minus 689. Although it is still above this December 2018 low and also above the recent low. But again, it is not something to write home about because this is still pretty negative here at minus 689. And here looking at the NASDAQ 100, you see the NASDAQ 100 also closed with a higher low. And just like the S&P 500, the advanced decline also made a new lower low. The new high, new low, same thing as the S&P 500. It has a minus 564, and it's still above this previous low and above the December 2018 low. Looking at the cash index of the S&P 500 on a weekly chart here, you can see this. We got a little bit of a doji type of a candle and closed below the well, at the lower third of the weekly range, and it is inside of on this retracement zone. And so right now we're basically keeping an eye on TC. Will it continue to retrace back down or try to get it back above the 618 and get above the 2993.59 area? The daily chart, you can see that there's this roller coaster here, and on Monday got a strong open and gap up and rally all the way up and close near the high of the day. But then on the following day, it sold back off and came down and closed near the low of the day at the lower third of that daily range. Then on Wednesday, got another rally and closed near the high at the high of the day. But then again on Thursday, it came back down and sold off. Then Friday got another scary day, and then but it did rally back up and close near the high of the day on Friday. So you can see on a daily range, the daily basis, you basically got this, very scary, volatile up and down like a roller coaster ride on a daily basis. So basically right now, we're going to be keeping an eye on this 618, somewhere around 2993.59. See, would it be able to get back up above this retracement zone and take it back up and take out this high here, last week's high. If it is unable to take out that last week high, then we're basically looking for this 50% retracement down here at 2870 level here, and then keep an eye on last week's low that's just beneath the 50% point. And if the price cannot get a bounce back up to the 618, then we'll probably be looking at the 382, somewhere around the 2746.51 area. Then we keep an eye on this retracement zone to see how the market will react on this two level here, between these two levels. Then moving on, looking at the US dollar index here. Remember, we were saying last week, this is the weekly chart. Last week, we expect to see it come down to maybe test this, this trend line here at the lower channel. You can see that with the Fed announced a 50 basis point cut on the interest rate, it basically took the dollar below that. And right now, we're essentially looking to see what it come down to this 95 level. The market is pricing in another cut when the FOMC meeting, announcement that the market is expecting another 50 and even possibly 75 basis point cut. So we'll see. And certainly that's going to put some pressure on the US dollar. And on the oil, we were saying that last week when it broke to this zone here, and we essentially was looking at these two levels to get tagged, and it got pretty close to this 100% major move from this this zone here, and so near the 60.47. So right now, OPEC is talking about cutting the supply, and reducing the supply. But Russia have not agreed to that yet. So we'll see. Will there be a agreement on reducing the supply? And if there isn't, we could expect this oil price to go lower. But if it is, we might get a little bit bounce, and maybe it will work itself back up to this 50.52. So just keep an eye on that. Right now, with the coronavirus is certainly putting a lot of pressure on the demand side for oil from China. So we'll see how this play out, and will Russia agree to some sort of cut in the supply there. Then looking at gold, remember last week we were talking about this this sell-off on gold, and that possibly it was due to some selling from players that need to cover their margins. So they basically sell what they could sell, and that is gold, and use that. And if we say if that is the case, then we probably will see a bounce back on gold. And you can see that the gold prices actually came back up. And also the weak dollar will also help push the gold price up. So once again, it is back up at these level here near this 141 between 1690 and 1680. So we'll see, would it be able to take out that 1690? If we could take out the 1690, then I'd be looking at this 1743 to 1750 area up at this 1618 and the 100% extended move here from this bull flag. So that's basically the market update. Let's go and take a look at Tesla. Looking at the weekly chart here on Tesla, we certainly could see that it's been on a roller coaster ride for the last few weeks or the last month or so, ever since that it made a intraday high here up at this 968.99. Basically kind of sold off and then come back up, trying to make another attempt at that high, and also found seller up here at the 944.78. Then you can see the last 2 weeks, the range for the weekly range is really large here. For this particular week, we see a range of $251.98. Here was $295.47, and last week we got a $122.71 range. So that is a pretty volatile move for Tesla on a weekly basis. And last week it actually finished with a inside candle here, got a little bit of a small spinning top body, and you can see it's more like a shooting star type of candle, and it is inside the previous week candle here. So we're seeing a little bit of a inside shooting star, and next week we are monitoring some of these level down here. So looking at the daily chart, we can see that on Monday it actually started out strong. It gapped up and it rallied all the way up and closed at the high of the day. Then on the following day, on Tuesday, it gapped up, but instead of holding ground, it actually sold off throughout the day and closed at the lower half of the daily range. Then on the following day, it got another gap up, but unfortunately, it was doing the same thing. It sold off throughout the day and sort of rallied back up a little bit through the close and just closed above the midpoint of the daily range. Then on Thursday, it actually gapped down, and then the buyer was trying to take it back up, and once again, the seller was pushing it back down, and the buyer could not hold control at the high. And what it did is basically it finished near the where it opened for the day. Then on Friday, it gapped down and tried to rally up. And actually, it did rally back up toward the close and close near the high. So that's kind of a little bit of a bullish stand, even though Friday was a big negative day for Tesla. So you can see that it's basically been in a very much of a roller coaster ride here, ever since this intraday high, the all-time high of 968.99. And here looking at the hourly chart, what I did is I basically using the volume profile, find these low volume edge, and to use those particular level as a potential resistance and support. So on the upside next week, if the price could come up and fill this gap, then basically I'm looking to see would it be able to come up and take out this high here and come up to possibly encounter some resistance at 819.99. Then if it could move through, then the next level would be 859.94, and that would be another gap that it could be encountered to try to fill. And if that gap gets filled, then we could also see another move toward the 944.78. Then on the downside, if it's unable to come up and fill this gap and come down and test the 618 here on this 666.45, then there is a potential support here at 659.80, and see where we get a bounce back up. But if it could not get back above the 618 and decided to make a move down to the retracement zone, then there is a potential support level near the 594.50, near the 50% retracement level of 572.99. So if it come back down into this retracement zone and take out the low of last week, then I'll be waiting to see would it be able to get a bounce back up above the 618 before I would start looking for a long setup to take it on the upside. Because if it come down to this 50% point, there's a possibility that it could trace back down to this 38.2, somewhere around 479.54. And if it break to this retracement zone, then we could see it come back down to that big range that we've been looking at for a long time, down at that 389 level. So these are some of the potential levels that I'll be watching for the coming days and for the coming week on Tesla, and see would this roller coaster ride continue. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up to help me smash the YouTube algorithm, and also subscribe if you'd like to see more of these videos from me. Thank you for watching, and good luck on your trading.